Alright, what's up guys? We're watching a little video here of me putting this design together. I did a traditional version, one where I used acrylic paint and some pens, and then I did a digital version as well. And basically I just wanted to chat a little bit today, give my 2 cents on working digitally. When I first started at a shop, we're using Photoshop, pretty standard, like every day. But a lot of the designs were still done in sketchbooks. There was some photo bashing happening, but I think there's a lot of artists out there who might be intimidated by digital, or they don't think it's necessary, or just haven't really been exposed to it yet. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about it today and give my opinion on it. I think it's great. I think digital has its pros and cons. I'm not really here to say that it's either better or worse than working traditionally. Both have their merits for sure. I think in a business setting where you're trying to get things done pretty quickly, it's nice to work digitally because there's just a little bit more room for variations. You can put out a lot of different concepts pretty quickly. You could also get really clean lines. Not that you can't get them traditionally, but lines in digital are perfect. So if you wanted to do some like geometric work, digital is really handy for that. They have like the symmetry tool, for example. So you don't have to like go through the whole thing where you draw and then fold the paper in half and try and get it perfectly right. So there's a lot of these little like shortcuts for you digitally that allow us to work more efficiently. And so I definitely think in like a business setting, working digitally, especially as a tattoo artist, is the way to go. Now, when I first started, like I mentioned, a lot of the designing was done in sketchbooks, and that's actually what I was doing. I was drawing by hand everyone's design when they came in, and they would tell me their concept, and I'd just get right to sketching, and I did that for a long time. And I could get a lot of quick ideas out and get a good concept together and everything. But once I started to mess with the computer a bit and really like understand how it worked, it was just a matter of time before everything just kind of clicked for me and things went really seamlessly with digital. I was able to work much faster and just get the ideas out more efficiently for the clients and everything. And at first it was hard. Like I didn't know the interface, I didn't know the tools, I didn't have the right tools, like the computer at our shop didn't even have a stylus. We were just using a mouse. So you're really not going to be drawing or anything like that if you just have a mouse. So went out and got a stylus, learned a little bit about that, and figured out the brush settings and figured out all the tools and everything. And I think that there's a lot of artists out there that are at that point where they might be able to work digitally, but they've just never been exposed to it in any serious way, or they don't know about it and everything. So that's part of what I do like on this channel, is I just want to like share new tools and what I've found helpful and useful in my work, and just try and like share that with you guys. So like for example, this skull here, the skull concept, drawing it traditionally and then painting it took about 3.5 hours. And I'm not really counting like all the setup and breakdown that came with that. I had to go get the book out, get all the paints out and everything like that. And there's a certain satisfaction in doing the whole thing traditionally, but not counting that time, it took about 3.5 hours from start to finish. Now, digitally, I already had the drawing drawn up, so I just took a picture of it and then put it on the computer and lightened the layer, and then I started going over it with the brush in Photoshop. So had I had nothing there and I just drew it, so the same way that I drew it on paper, if I just drew it on my tablet here, that portion of the concept took about an hour. So you take that hour and you add it on to the time it took to finish it digitally, and we're looking about 2.5 hours. So I'm shaving off quite a bit of time working digitally. And the cool thing about working on the computer is I could then change the colors of the crystals, or I could make the skull face the other way, or I could add more lights, I could change the values. There's a lot of things I can do to the design to alter it. So like if I were to send this out to a client and they're like, oh, I really like it, but I want the crystals to be blue, I can go ahead and change that pretty easily. Whereas if I work traditionally, it would be a much harder task. It would take me a little bit longer. I'd have to repaint it and whatever. So usually, if you're doing a concept and you're working on paper and stuff like that, usually you're not going to take it like all the way to a finish and fully color it and everything, because of that exact reason, where like if somebody wants a change or something like that, you're just kind of spinning your wheels at that point. But if you're doing a print to sell or something, then you would surely finish it. And that's where I think traditional really shines, is just like selling traditional finished pieces. Because you can make digital prints, of course, and many artists do, and they sell well, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Finished paintings, traditional with paint, oil paint, acrylics, all that sort of thing, those also do really well. And I think you don't have to cut out traditional entirely from your repertoire. You can definitely still work traditionally, but I think it has its own spot on the shelf as far as like all of your tools in business go, especially as a tattoo artist. There's also something to be said about the presentation value that digital provides that traditional does not. So if you do this cool drawing on paper, unless the client's right there and you can put the paper like around their arm, or maybe you kind of draw the shape of an arm and then you draw the tattoo design within it, you're not really going to get a good presentation of how the piece is going to look on their skin. If you're working in Photoshop, you could actually put your drawing and your design on its own layer and then take a picture of their arm and then put that underneath, and they would much better be able to visualize how the piece is going to look on them at that point. And it's better for you too, because you're able to see like, oh, this is actually flowing really well with the body part, or it's not. So that's another reason why working digitally is a plus, because for your client's sake, they're going to see the design quicker, they're going to see variations on the design, and they're going to be able to see what the design looks like on them, all much better than they could if you were doing it traditionally. Now, there are many artists who work really well traditionally, and they do kind of like a more like hand-drawn style, and you can still get that on a computer, but I understand, if you come from a background of drawing on paper day in and day out, and you've been doing it for 20 years, then drawing on a computer is going to feel alien to you, and you're going to get that disconnect from your hand to your mind that feels so natural on paper. Like I definitely felt that too when I was starting out on the computer. But if you do move to the computer, all it is a tool. It's just another medium. All of the rules are still the same. All of the art rules still apply, design, color theory, all of that stuff. So if you know those things and you got a great handle on it because you've been drawing for a long time, then all it is just learning the program. Once you learn the program, you'll be able to make a lot of concepts really quickly, and you can keep cranking out the artwork that you like to do, and you'll probably be able to put out more of it. All right, I'll hop off my digital soapbox here, you guys. Hopefully enjoyed the video. Just wanted to chat with you guys. Maybe if you were thinking about getting into digital as a tattoo artist, or you're just starting out and you're kind of unfamiliar with these programs, hopefully this video has piqued your interest and get you on the computer a little bit more and see what kind of cool concepts you can come up with. See you later. Bye.